Hey guys, what's up? It is Friday. We are here in Abilene, Texas. We just got in, we checked in, picking up from the last video. We got the Midget here. We'll take a better close look at it. We didn't really get to go over too much, but we're here in town for the Brisket bowl. We got a couple things I want to do on the Midget. We put it together, but I want to finalize a couple things, but let's take a deeper dive into it. All right, so you can see we got our car here. We ended up finalizing all of our wires here, nice and short. Try to make everything nice and clean. So that's ready. Panels came out decent. We had to cut them up a little bit to fit a little bit better. So I will be revising that. Made for the final product. Not only that, I painted on the outside instead of inside. So that was a big mess up on my part. So yeah, so I want to take the wheels off this car. We'll put it on the setup station, and then try to put a setup in it, get it balanced out, and then we're gonna go jump into some shocks. All right, guys. So we got it lined up as best as we can. Did a really quick oil deal on the shocks. It's getting kind of late. Still not perfect. I'm using these Aeromax setup station, and I don't know, I don't think they're quite wide enough for the car. We tried to do the best we can. Ultimately, still was kind of off, so I eyeballed it. I'm gonna see if Kevin has his and then his bag tomorrow, but we're gonna be done for the night. We're also gonna be running the late model, so we brought that over. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. Doors open around 8, so we'll try to probably get up around 6:45, 7 o'clock. Try to walk out the door at 7, go down there, eat some breakfast, get our money's worth out of our hotel room, and for the most part, well, I think we're done. We're gonna, as soon as I get there, I'm gonna throw a quick charge in the batteries, and then put them in the cars and do some test runs and go from there. The late model I'm not really gonna touch. I haven't really touched it at all from Chili Bowl. The car should be good. We'll do the quick check, but I'm really focusing this weekend on the Midget. But we'll go into a bit further details about that, some of the concerns that I have with it. But this is what I'm here for doing, is testing and tuning. Best way to test is in a race. So I think I'm gonna call it a night. I want to thank you for everybody for following along, all the new subscribers, everything. I got a really bunch of good ideas about videos coming up. We're going to try to come out with something interesting, but we're going to do some racing. We'll continue doing some research on this Midget, but we'll call it for tonight, and I'll catch up with y'all in the morning. We're here, we're in the track. Behind us, got everybody set up. Kevin behind us, everybody back there. Got our pit spot set up. Not big boy friendly, but we good. See, we're good. We gotta set that up. So, late model's ready. Added, pretty much got the same setup as Chili Bowl. Got the Midget set up. Changed springs, trying to help some rotation, but we're working way through it. Yeah, so we're here. We're about to come up with first round. So, see how it goes. Guys, we're back in the garage here. Before we get started in the races, I just kind of want to go over a couple of things before. I didn't really get to talk much there. We're playing really good music at four-way. I didn't really want to get too much in trouble. You'll hear some of the videos, just music in the background. I'm just hoping I don't get flagged for that. So we're going to sit here in the garage and we'll talk about everything that we did. So as soon as we got there, we charged the batteries up, made some test runs. The car had red springs initially. If you see it from the video in the past, when I was in the hotel, it had red springs on it, and I went out there with red springs because I just wasn't sure what the car is doing. This is my first time I ever driving a Midget. I've never got to drive another Midget before, so I wasn't necessarily didn't know what to feel. So I made some test drives real quick, and then ultimately I felt like the car was really tight going in. So, and Kevin suggested for me to go ahead and put yellow springs all the way around because the car is light, and the track itself, although for the most part it was smooth, it was really bumpy. So It got smoother and smoother as we went down the races, but it just made the car bounce a lot. So I just wanted to give it a softer feel and make it feel a little bit more stable. But that's pretty much where we're at when we start the video. So this is the first race. So ultimately, it's my first race in any kind of midget, and especially in this car. So let's check it So that's the first race. Initially, it looks okay, but really, if you look at the video, at some points when you go around a turn, the car would just like snap. So I wasn't really sure what it was going on, you know, because this is my first time driving it, but I feel like it's still kind of tight, and I feel like I'm having to put too much steering input But at the same time, I don't know because I've never driven one of these cars before. I'm kind of used to a car kind of naturally turning, but at the same time, that's with the rear adjustments. So we're going to turn around and look at the car. Now the car is currently set up the way it was for the final race. And I kind of want to leave it there because I liked it right there. But we can go over the car, exactly what I did to try to help mitigate a little bit of the steering issue. So we'll turn around and look at the car, and then we'll get into some details. Right, from the get-go, one of the biggest deals that I wanted to accomplish with this car is to have, because this is not adjustable in the rear, you can't have any track side adjustments to help kind of create any rear steer or anything like that. What I wanted to do is make sure that there was plenty of room in here to be able to move the battery around. So you can see right now, this is set up the way it is whenever we did the main. So initially we had it here, all the way here. So the battery moved over up about a couple of millimeters, right? And then it's still in the same location. We'll look at it from the bottom. Right now it's almost as farthest to the left. If you look at these screws right here, it's almost as far as to the left. It's kind of like a medium, indicating here by the middle one. So it's like in the midpoint per se. If I was to move this over one more hole, then the battery would be all the way up against the cage. But it stayed pretty much in this position, middle location on the left side of the chassis, right? But it was forward. Now, one of the other things that we try to accomplish by making space is by putting the servo up here in the front. So naturally now, instead of having the servo here and then a bunch of linkages here, now it is up here in the front. So now we have more natural front weight bias than what we would traditionally have than here, right? So this is the standard way the car is set up, other than it being one hole already up forward. So to be able to create weight forward, we start with the lay down transmission. Now, stand-up transmission, obviously the motor will be further up, everything will be further back, which helps create more weight, rear weight bias, right? So we have more, so the car feels more planted. And, you know, around our facilities, around our area, tracks tend to be a little bit more gripped up. So if we're fighting traction, you know, a stand-up transmission is always a good way to go, but it creating more grip usually tends to get the car to be tight off the turns because the car is so planted. You know, you can help mitigate that issue with heavier springs and stuff like that. But naturally, if you put a lay-down transmission, now you got the weight further forward to the car, which takes some of the rear traction out, which helps the car rotate on power. Hope that makes sense. So we went ahead and just put a lay-down transmission in. I'm pretty sure I can put the stand-up transmission in it. It's a custom works transmission, but I really wanted to do something different and do the lay-down. So that being said, me feeling the car was too tight, meaning you had way too much throttle input for it to find it to get around, and I'm thinking that it being that way, when it finally went to turn and this car so turned, it just grabbed it and snapped it, right? So to help that situation in my mind, right, we stay with the yellow springs all night, and we only have technically 3 races to try to get this car dialed in, because not necessarily 3, it's more like 2 heats, and then we race the main. So I wanted to make a drastic approach with the car, with the transmission of the Custom Works. I'll show you here. It has 4 spots already that you can move it. So right now, the way it was sitting naturally is on these. So it's pretty much as far back as possible with steel. So that's kind of like a medium type deal, right? So we went ahead and moved not only to the rear holes forward, but on the actual chassis, there's another another set of slots that I put, holes that I put in there. So it kind of gives the car like 8 points of adjustment. So we went dramatic. We went all the way forward to help create the weight in the front. The other thing was, what else did we do? I feel like now creating that deal, we went ahead and thinking that, okay, we're going to have a lot of steering, and it's like direct, right? So, and it's a pretty fast servo. So I went ahead and slowed the steering down significantly. I mean, I think I cut it in half. So that's where we're at before the race. Nothing else has changed. Oh, another thing. So we're running the Beast rear blocks for the suspension arm, right? So in the blocks itself, you have some toe adjustment. So this one is all the way in, and then we made it where it was far out, giving it a little bit more less to help create a little bit of rear steer. So between all of that, it should be a dramatic change. And we'll check it out.
I'm tired of hearing that.
Okay, go back.
Okay, we're good.
So second round, not too bad. Car seems to rotate a little bit better. I feel like I'm getting more comfortable in the car, but the track got slick, like really slick, and it was kind of a handful. We got the rotation down, so at this point now we're like, oh, it's too aggressive. And ultimately we're like, now I need the traction back to the rear, because it feels and it seems like the track slicking off. Now, between first round and second round, they did the whole deal where they served brisket and beans, which is really good. And shout out to the guys there at Raceway. It was really good food. Thank you for that. So we spent a lot of time just kind of sitting about, whatever. So it gave me the time to, you pretty much start thinking, and I think everybody had the same thought process because everyone was slipping and sliding. The car was really good initiating turn, but it felt like the back end was too bound, like it was on top of the track because we had taken so much of the weight off of it that we're like, oh, it's too much, which is fine because, we are trying to figure out if the actual adjustments that we put in this car or all the adjustments that's capable of doing it will help, and it did. So obviously now we're like, oh, it's too much. So shout out, Jennifer was there. She allowed me to look at her car and was looking at some things and stuff. And I noticed that the front end of her car was really wide on the outside holes. So if you're not familiar with Custom Works has where the kick-ups, which is mounted to the shock tower, mounted to the arms, you can either go in or out, 2 slots. And I did the same for this car. It has the Custom Works kick-ups in it. I looked at it and I'm like, oh, maybe that's something to look into it. And ultimately ended up making that decision. So let's check that out. These are the kick-ups. This is the bottom of it. If you can see, earlier we were on the inside holes, making the front end of the car narrower. So what I'm looking for is more stability. So the wider the track, obviously, the better it is, trying to keep some of the dartiness out of it. So I ended up moving everything over one hole, which worked out really good. The only thing I really had to adjust was the steering camera links, because now the wheels were like really towed out. So we made that adjustment. We went ahead and put our transmission back to the stock, put it back to the rear holes where it is now, full all the way to the back. No, I lie. If you look at right there, there's still a little bit of that hole. So it is back on the second hose, but on this hole. So that would make it like a medium right in between. If I put it on this hole, and then we're further back. So we went ahead and did that. Now on these blocks, I remember a long time ago when I used to race like the Custom Works, the 3s and stuff like that, you could flip these blocks over and give you more adjustment. And that's what I did to this right rear block. Is I literally took this arm off, grabbed this toe block, and then I flipped it over and put it to the furthest, and it did drastically change. Now, obviously there's gray areas in these rules. Obviously, if we got teched and it was like, hey, that's not right, I would have ate it up. I'd like, okay, well, I was, as a racer, we were always trying to push those limits. So I did do that and add in a little bit more weight to the rear, opening up the stand to the front end. We went ahead and decided to send it. At this point, what I also did, because I was also worried about the track being still kind of slick, I went ahead and added more grip on the hubs. All right, so the hubs, you have an option of having it higher or lower. Well, lowering it, to my knowledge, increases forward bite. So we went ahead and dropped it down on both sides to just kind of help the grip and give us a little bit more forward bite. All right, guys, so I just want to make something clear, specific, like really clear. Is this is a knowledge that I have, and this is what I've always used throughout a lot of my, once I get, learn more and more things, and maybe there's a different thought process out there that other people are using. I'm not right. I'm not always right. I'll openly admit that. But this is what I've done, and I'm being open. Just trying to help give some feedback on it, why I did adjustments, my point of view, and we can see how the car reacts. Now, obviously, I really wish I would have took my camera. I know that a couple of years back at Chili Bow, I had a camera right here, a little bitty camera, the 360 deal, and I stopped using it because obviously I always had Kevin to help me out. So I didn't take it. So I do appreciate Ashley, which is Kevin's girlfriend, coming out and helping us video and everything like that. So it might be kind of hard to see how the car acts, but it was going to feel a whole lot better. But let's check it out. Alright guys, so that's it. That was the main. We got ourselves a second place position. Not bad way to start our midget racing career. Very excited, very proud of what we were able to get accomplished. Car felt really good. I really feel like my car was, if not fast, about equally the same as first place car. Congratulations, Jen, for her win on that. She hit every point, and while I was in the back screwing around, getting into lap traffic and running into cars and stuff, she just ran a race and stuff. But at the end, we did make a charge. Once we finally got some open space and the car dropped out, we finally got some room to run, and I think we were slightly gaining. The car was feeling really comfortable. I felt like I could drive it anywhere and anything I wanted to do. So it was a fun race. I really enjoyed it. So the late model, we pretty much, we knew pretty much we were overpowered. I had an 8.0 in it and a small bull ring track. But I was getting a pretty good handle on it. And I feel like my car was pretty quick. Was I the most consistent? No. But ultimately, one of the biggest adjustments that I made was in the left rear. on the Custom Works chassis, they have a second hole that you can put in, which adds like more degrees. So the left rear is like, it's tucked in pretty good. So it's all the way in, all maybe 11 degrees or something like that. And the right rear was about 2. The car was really good. I was able to drive the car pretty good on the outside lane. One of the things that was a little frustrating was lap traffic. Now, lap traffic, you can look at it 2 ways. It's what you do with it and how you manage it. But at the same time, courtesy goes a long way. I think I failed on one of them, and the other one didn't help me out as much either. So, but all in all, the car was cool. It was fun. It was fast. Ultimately, a really good experience. Always a great time going over there to 4-way. Nice little short track. Obviously, sometimes the track doesn't always go as favorable as you want, but we're all on the same track. We all had to deal with it, and it was all good. At the end of the day, with the late model, I got kind of frustrated. Tires were burnt off. I used one set all day long, and I just ultimately just kind of pulled off. But not necessarily the showman that we want, but at the same time, I really was really focused and more excited about the Midget. Because it's a new car for me, something I really wanted to do for a long time. And not only that, I have, like I mentioned before, 2 guys who are waiting for cars. So now this car is pretty much finished. What's next for it? So there's a couple of things I want to do. I think give it the optional on the front shock tower to be able to use a sway bar. I think a sway bar will go a long way. Maybe will help kind of numb it a little bit. Maybe a different shock package. But this car right now, as it sits, is sold as is. It's a customer's car. Everything is good. If anything, we're going to cut a new chassis out to take all the scrapes away. We got into some wrecks and bumps, so we know the chassis and the shock towers are durable. One of the biggest things I was concerned because how skinny they are up here in the front. But really good, really good. I'm really excited about it. So what now? We'll continue to work on the Midget. There's going to be 3 cars in all total that are going to be built. Mine and 2 more. And do some racing. Just work on it more, see what else we can do to improve it. I think maybe a different shock package will go a long way. Nothing wrong with the Custom Works shorties or the small bores. But, we're going to try something different. This is what we're here for. And then I also want to cut a new version similar to this Midget, almost the same front end, but in a late model for 13.5 or open, whatever, for late model. So yeah, basically just trying to move forward, trying to build some cars, really trying to have a fun, not trying to gain a career of building cars, because that's hard to do. But at the end of the day, that's where we're at. I want to give a huge shout out to all my sponsors who let us make this happen. First one, J Concepts. I first started to try the car with some quasis because that's what we had to run at Chili Bowls, but ultimately we ran the race with sprinters and mono wheels. We went with blues up front. And then we had blues tires at first. And that's one of the last things I changed. I forgot to tell you. I had a set of greens that were nice and worn, really good, and nice and soft. So we added those on the rear. And then next, Hobby Wing. Obviously, we had to use a just stock setup. But also Hobby Wing, I've been using them for years. All their ESCs. About to order some of the newer stuff to put them in the cars. Shout out to them. Power Products. We have Power Products in almost all my cars, other than us having to use just stock and stuff, or Traxxas and stuff. But also MR Customs, Greg. Shout out to Greg. Anytime we needed a body, he was willing. He came on board, and anytime we need something, he sends it. Shout out to him. Makes some of the best bodies out there, if not the best. And obviously, a lot of these bodies are mimicked off of his deals. So and then big shout out to my family, my wife, let me go do these things. Not often that you could tell your wife, hey, I'm gonna go play with some RC cars. And then not only that, biggest deal why we're racing is to keep Silky's memory alive. You know, often think what he would do whenever we built this car, what it looks like and stuff, and ultimately have some fun. There's a lot of memories out there we have every time that we go somewhere, what we used to do and crazy stuff he come out with. So, and another big shout out is to every one of y'all. You know, people come up to me, talk to me, they see the videos and stuff like that. Fun fact is that I was looking at all these analytics and all this stuff is new to me, right? 50% of the people who watch these videos are not subscribed. Either way, I do appreciate subscribe or not. I hope you do subscribe, and there's more things to come. I have plenty of ideas that I want to do. I want to have some fun with this deal. I love racing, but at the same time, I like when I can go race with my friends. We have a good time. Obviously, the competitive side of us sometimes gets the best of us because we want to win, but at the end of the day, it's a great memory. We're out there having some fun. So that's it for today's video. Comment, like, subscribe. Please subscribe, share, and then we'll see you on the next video. Peace.